come together in a way that we would like them and to do it in a timely fashion. And I think that that disappointment has been ameliorated, first of all, by the comments of our hierarchs who tried to put it into a perspective. Then I think we've moved a little further down the line and we've talked about how people who are lay people can do things to bring about unity on a local level in terms of working with college students, in terms of working with young adults, and finally in terms of having in the work of Project Mexico, young people below the ages of 18 primarily, who also are finding the importance of being Orthodox in America. And we've had 3 examples today. There are hundreds of examples of this going on throughout various communities in the United States that we're not aware of. In terms of soup kitchens, in terms of working with needy in various towns, in terms of the Philoptochos societies and the ladies' auxiliaries of the various churches taking on special kinds of projects to deal with children who have terrible diseases. And we can go on and on and on and list those things. So I think that we should leave with a real sense of hope for the future. Start out with disappointment, and I think that we have moved now to hope. And not only hope, but we can see it done pragmatically, the things that Orthodox can do together, regardless of whether the top is unified, is perhaps irrelevant in the long run. It makes more of it, at least in my mind, it's more important to see what we can do with one another to try and bridge the gap as it exists. I think that's enough sermonizing on my part, but what I'd like to do is take about 5 minutes for questions and perhaps longer, and then we will adjourn to Social Hall, where the ladies of St. John's have prepared a nice treat for us and an opportunity to talk and share more experiences. So, first of all, any questions? Yes, sir. Well, Ben, are you going to ask a question?
Yes, the questions for examiners. And
yes.
Out of ignorance, I would wonder, with the 54 bishops, as we move towards unity within the United States, what would that look like with respect to assignments of bishops? And without getting too complicated, would that take quite a, once the decision was made, I would imagine it would take a significant amount of time to implement and execute.
Sure, because it's not just something written down. There are other things like finances, properties, other organizations. But I think that once the plug is pulled, then everything is going to just move, because the Spirit will be the one moving us. When we come to that point of saying there is a body called the Synod also is representing through the clergy, to the faithful, it can help it move forward. So I think, yes, it can happen any time, so it'll happen. But I do think that as Peter said, and yourself and the others who made presentations, it's already going on. It's already moved. The church isn't just waiting for a legal and canonical order. Things are already moving because the love of Christ knows no borders. So I believe that once it begins, it will just continue.
I think we ought to take that as a kind of a slogan for our organization. The word of Christ knows no borders. That would be a good way to...
Somebody said it before me, but that's all right.
That's all right. It doesn't make any difference. You said it today, and that's what's important. Any other questions? Comments? Yeah, where? I'm sorry.
The Ecumenical Council of next year, will there be a representative from the Assembly of Bishops going there, and there will be any proposal?
Can you repeat?
Yes, Father's asking if they're at the Assembly next year in Constantinople, Istanbul, if there would be representatives from the Assembly of Bishops present. What I understand is that each church will be allowed 24 bishops or higher, only 24. So that the bishops the ones already in the United States and are part of synods abroad, they may be invited as one of those representatives, or they may not be. So, as far as, I'm assuming, of course, Archbishop Demetrius will go, and those who may be heads of jurisdiction in this country, but I don't know, except what I heard is the number will be 24 from each. So it won't be all of the bishops, it'll just be this limited amount.
Can we presume that the other bishops that are not invited to be participants will be invited to go as observers?
You cannot. I mean, you can do what you want.
But there's no thought that that would occur.
No, I mean, if all the bishops went, that's what the Church of Russia, for example, I think they must have at least 300 or 300 bishops.
But they would have a big audience.
What we understand is there may be guests from other churches, Roman Church and others, who will be present to see it, but they won't accommodate all of the bishops from the church.
Okay.
Will there be any lay
I don't have my bag packed, so.
Will there be any lay people?
Will there be lay people? Certainly there'll be lay people, but not participating as participants. As observers, I assume that.
So we're not quite sure of what the structure of the,
I have a question.
The structure we know in general is that,
structure in terms of who will be there and who will not be there.
well, we don't know which the churches who will be present, autocephalous and autonomous churches, that's for them to decide. We assume that the patriarchs would be there and the major archbishops and so forth.
I wanted to ask another question, a clarification in my mind and perhaps in yours. You know, this issue, the issue of territorial jurisdictional unity in the United States and Canada and elsewhere in the world is very important to us. But I guess we have made the assumption that's going to be the focus of this meeting. And I wonder if you might speak to that a little bit.
I can only mention what Mr. Grindach, who is employed not only by actually he's employed, he has an employment with the Assembly of Bishops, pays a salary to him, and as well he's part of the Archbishop Athanagor's study group in Berkeley. And his presentation was to the bishops, and actually, I'm sorry, it was at St. Vladimir's. And he said, you know, for most people in the United States, in these groups, administrative unity is the major concern. But for the rest of the church, they have other things that are more important to them locally. So I'm assuming that if it is going to be on the agenda, it will be something that's not the focal point or the reason for which the synod is called.
Can you give some other?
I have a question.
Well, I think there may be, and we said that if you look on the website, and it must be a website for the Ecumenical Patriarch. Some of the things are like fasting, which may not be an issue for some, but fasting. Another might be even the date of Easter. Another might be marriage, a remarriage of clergy. Things that are not theological in themselves, but have to do more with discipline.
Okay.
I have a question.
George, yes.
You read that the patriarch or some representative of the Church of Georgia sent a paternal letter to the patriarch
Yes.
asking for the information to be published. Is the Assembly of Bishops going to publish the information that has gone through the last 6 years?
The minutes are I don't know if they're available at the public, but they are. I mean, we do have minutes from all those meetings. I would say they're really insignificant.
You've had surveys, you've had studies.
Yes, the surveys are, I think surveys have been online. There have been surveys to the bishops alone, surveys to the clergy, surveys to faithful in various jurisdictions. So those have been shared with the Assembly of Bishops, either at the meetings or during the year when they're taken. I believe that if you look on the website, Assembly of Orthodox Bishops of USA, there's another one for Canada. So that information, as far as the debates going on, we really don't debate. We wait for committee reports, and I have to say, not all the committees have reports. So in that respect, it's disappointing that I think there may be 15 or so committees, very important topics on youth, on clergy matters, on various issues that are important. But I think that, I don't think, there have been some committees which have not produced any reports at all, which is rather disappointing. So in that case, it's up to the chair to be more aggressive. Right?
Any other questions? Yes.
Since the assembly, 6 of the 12 churches, as I heard, thought that unity was premature,
Can you speak a little louder? I'm sorry.
Yeah, since 6 of the 12 churches on the assemblies thought that unity was premature at this time,
Yes.
what will be reported to the council in 2016, and what without a plan from the assembly, what will they be doing?
Yes.
Did you all hear the question?
Not clearly. Okay.
Can you rephrase it, Carl?
Yeah, I believe the question was, what will the Assembly of Bishops offer to the Synod as far as their conclusions or what they propose? One of the major commissions is the one on how do we perceive the structure to be in the United States, a possible structure. And that's Archbishop Nicolae of the Romanian Church is the chair, and then all members of the jurisdictions take part in that. And the presentations they made twice were not accepted by everybody. We don't vote by hand, we come to something called consensus, whatever that means. We come to consensus. So, as I mentioned, in the more recent last 2 years, what the bishops, what I would say the bishops first perceived as being a unified consideration of what the Chambocy is asking us to do, administrative unity and how would it be done. A part of the bishops now are saying it's too soon for that because either we're not mature enough or that the needs of the particular ethnic groups are such that they don't see how they can serve those particular people in a general administrative single bishop structure. There are others maybe who just are not sure what their own mother churches want, or are sure what the mother churches want, and therefore they're not saying themselves what they want. They're only repeating. There was a survey, and it was very apparent that bishops in various jurisdictions, I'll use the word, parroted what the mother churches had already said. So to think that locally the bishops have stated other than what the mother churches state, I would say it's not vocalized.
Okay.
No.
George?
So typically, when there isn't consensus, whatever that means,
Yes.
because I understand that there's no consensus as to what consensus means. It doesn't mean 100%, it might mean 98% or 75%, so they can't even agree on what that means.
Right.
Typically, what we would expect would be a majority report and a minority report, right? You'd say, okay, all you patriarchs, here's what we did. We spent 6 years, and we've come up with no agreement, no consensus, but we have a group of people who see it this way, and the others see it another way.
Yeah.
But I get the sense from your answer to the question, which was yes, is that there isn't going to be any kind of report.
Yes,
Not
sir.
not a majority report, not a minority report, no report.
I'm sure that there will be reports, but not a singular proposal. The Orthodox Church in America, we were asked, Archbishop Nikolai asked each of the jurisdictions as groups of bishops of that jurisdiction to write their own proposal as to what would be beneficial to the Synod to know or to work upon. And as far as I know, there might have been two, but we as the Holy Synod of the Orthodox Church in America, we did make a very clear proposal. It's very well written, and basically it says this: look, let us create a synod in North America, and we here, who know one another and know the country and the laws and the politics and the history and society, we can best determine how to resolve the problem with a single synod here. Let us be the committee, let us be the synod, and we can do it because we live here.
That would be an autocephalous church.
Yes, also.
Under a single synod.
A single synod.
Electing
A
its own.
synod means basically, what is a synod? A synod is all the parishes represented by their bishops come together in a committee. That's what a synod is. So the bishop doesn't represent himself. He is the representative of all his parishes, and all those bishops make up the committee, or as we call it, synodos, the Holy Synod.
That was your proposal of OCA.
That was OCA. It's on our website, I believe, and I saw it. It was even translated by the Romanian church, and it's on one of their websites.
What was the fate of that proposal?
Well, it was given to the Archbishop, Archbishop Dimitrios, who's the chair, and I'm assuming that it would be one or two or three proposals given to the Synod. I can't really say.
But each individual.
Well, because there was no consensus.
Right.
And consensus seems to be, we don't all agree, but we're going to go forward with what seems to be a possibility.
A possibility.
Okay, but we have another consensus, and the consensus is that locally we can do all kinds of things. And I think we have to keep that in mind at all times. You know, we talk about the assembly and what they're doing, but we have to also talk about who we are and what we're doing. And I think we've heard both sides of those issues tonight. I want to thank you for your attention, which was, I think, thoughtful and refreshing to the speakers to have people pay such close attention and nobody fell asleep according to my observation.
I saw some nodding out there. I see it in when I...
Anyway, as a reward for being patient, please join us in the